We are in the very last week of 2020, and we just were able to celebrate Christmas. So, what a joyous time. So, in this case, we're going to start off and reflect on a couple different things. Just find yourself in a nice, comfortable seated position, whatever seat that you prefer. Just going to close your eyes, and if you like, you can place your hands resting gently on top of your thighs. Eyes may be closed, and just feel yourself as you inhale through your nose, and just feel yourself elongating through your spine, the crown of your head up toward heaven. And just exhale, just no specific way, just connect with your breath. Continue your own breath. During the season of Christmas, it's just so wonderful to really connect. You know, sometimes we get so busy trying to prepare for the celebration that we may miss out on this opportunity to really connect with God, being a little bit more silent, being more present. Many times we think activities, especially as we go through the end of the year trying to come up with New Year's resolution, thinking that we have to get a lot accomplished, but could we really just be in His presence? Knowing that it's not what we do or how we do it, but really returning back to Him each time. And as you feel your breath, as you really feel it elongate your full inhale, you feel your heart rising, your lungs expanding, your diaphragm pressing down, your belly rising. Just feel that love. And then as you exhale, you can just feel it just go throughout your entire body, up to your mind, maybe perhaps through your crown of your head. And as you continue breathing, is there any area in your body that might be a little tense? And you allow it to relax, just melt away. Almost as if it needs the reassurance of something that might be ailing or, or crying out for some attention. "2020 certainly has brought us a very unusual year throughout the world, throughout the nation, throughout even our own state. We face various different circumstances, wildfires, earthquakes, of course, this pandemic, killer hornets. I mean, it's almost as if someone could not even make these up. But we know that God is our refuge and strength, an ever-present help in trouble. And so can we rely on God when we do face these various different despair? Now, as you continue breathing here, can you allow your breath, your inhale and your exhale, to match each other in terms of the rate? So I'm not going to count this for you because everyone's breath, inhalation and exhalation may be different. But can you notice it being the same? Amarvriti pranayama. So you may have something where you have a count of 3 for your inhale and a count of 3 for your exhale, or perhaps you have a count of 4 or 6 or 8. It doesn't really matter as long as they match each other. So you could be a fast counter or a slow counter. It really doesn't matter. And as you feel this beautiful connection with both evenly matching your inhale and your exhale, will you allow yourself to set some type of intention of what you want on today's practice? It could be the way you want to view 2020 and say, thank goodness it's the last week of the year, or reflect on the fact that it might have actually been a good year, giving you a chance to spend a little bit more time that you normally wouldn't. Or it could be setting your attention on what you want out of 2021, your new year. So the main theme for today will be on hope. You heard them talk about it during our sermon yesterday, and it really spoke to me. And I saw it again looking at some other source, and I knew there's a reason when I see the same Bible verse a couple times. So just keep in mind this. We have this hope as an anchor for the soul, firm and secure. So no matter what we face, we know that God has made some promises to us. Our faith is based on that. Of course, we can only hope, and we can hope because God always delivers his promise. So if you have your eyes closed, you may decide to open it and just inhale our arms up toward heaven, the breath. Inhale upward, palms together. Interlace your fingers and let your index finger point upward. Inhale up even higher. Exhale, bring it over toward your right side. Keep your left sits bone connected to the ground. Inhale back to center. Exhale to your left side. Keep your right sits bone grounded. Inhale again. Exhale, drop your hands down and bring your gaze over toward your right shoulder, not too tight, just slightly gentle. Inhale your arms back up. Exhale, bring your hands down, bring your gaze over to your left side. So we're getting a nice little spinal twist here. Inhale back up, palms together. Exhale, bring your hands back a little bit. Let your ears stay connected with your bicep. See if you can try to bring it back slightly, not a lot, because if not, you're gonna roll back. Inhale back to center. Exhale, let's point forward. Keep your sits bone ground. Fold at your hips. Keep your back nice and straight. And as soon as you feel yourself trying to lean forward, you can always drop your hands down. So completely fine. Continue to bend. If it's accessible to you. You don't need to. Keep feeling your breath. So a nice full inhale, allow your belly to rise. Exhale, and again, be aware of your own hip flexor. There's no reason to go further or deeper. So we're going to inhale all the way back up again. Exhale our hands all the way down to the floor, towards side. Beautiful. Let's get onto our hands and knees. If you like, you can always pad your, put some padding underneath your knees. Knees are directly underneath your hip. Your hands are directly underneath your shoulder width apart. So your feet are directly behind you. So with this, with the strength, and a lot of times we feel like we have to do our own strength. We can always count on the strength of our Lord. So when we are weak, He is strong. So let's just extend your right leg straight back, big toe touching the floor. So engage yourself here, big toe touching the floor. Press your right heel back slightly, but keep your left hip still above your left knee. Looking good. Inhale slightly up, lift your right leg up a little bit, not all the way, a little bit higher, and then third all the way up. Remember, so your third all the way up is where your right hip and your left hip are in the same plane, so we don't want to go beyond. All the way back down. Inhale up slightly, like maybe just a couple inches off the ground, a little bit more, and all the way up, all the way back down. Notice we're doing 3 times. Inhale, 1, 2, 3, all the way down. Great. Let's bring your right knee down. Same thing now. Extend your left foot straight back. Left big toe touch the floor. Make sure your right hip is still stacked over your right knee. Great. Inhale up slightly. Second level. Third level. So it's in alignment. All the way back down. Inhale up. 1. Second level. Third level. All the way back down. And our third time. The Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, all the way back down. Excellent. So if you want, you can either bring your hips all the way down to your heels, or you can always tuck your toes and then come back. So we're just going to give our wrist a little bit of a break. You can just rotate them. Rotate the other way. Pressing your palm away from you, you can grab your hands with your opposite hand, your left hand on it, pull it towards you gently, and have your fingers pressing down toward earth, and do the same thing. Just use your left hand, just gently pull your right fingers towards you, just a little bit gentle. That should feel good. And do the same thing with your left. So left palms out, kind of like stop, and then use your right hand, just pull it gently, keep all fingers, including your thumb with it. And then have your left fingers point pressing downward, so you can have slight rotation, and then bring your palms in towards you. All right, excellent. All right, so this time, back to your hands and knees. You're in our tabletop. Let's just do a couple of cat-cows. As you inhale, drop your belly down, lift your tailbones up. Gaze may come up toward the heaven, shoulder blades come toward each other. Exhale as you round our back, going into our cat. And go to your own level. So you might want to slowly allow your spine to awaken. Inhale, back into our cow. Exhale, into our cat. Inhale to our cow. Exhale to our cat. Back to tabletop. Now, if your hands get tired, you can always place some type of bolster or blocks or something down in front of your arms. You can always go to your forearms, but we're going to be working strength. So if you want to do that, feel free to do that. There's different ways to make it a little bit more accessible. So again, we're going to lift our right foot back behind us. We're going to bend our right knee so that the sole of our right foot is pointing up toward heaven. So we're on all these different 90-degree angle, okay? Now we're going to slightly pulse up and down, pulse it up and down. So it's going a little bit beyond that level of our hip flexor, up and down, up and down, up and down. Rotate your hips to the right. So we're doing what I call the fire hydrant. And then extend your right foot down. So we're coming up into Heaven's Gate. So I'm going to go now turn around so you can see me from the side. So you were down here, extend it here. So if you were up and then rotate, fire hydrant, and then straighten your leg and walk your hands here. Excellent. So check yourself in your alignment. You want to make sure that you're nice and straight again. If you like, you can always put some padding underneath your left knee. Your right heel is probably the same line, plane line as your left knee. Inhale your arms all the way up. Grab your left wrist with your right fingertips. Pull it up even higher. Exhale slightly over toward your right extended leg. See if you can go in the same plane. You don't have to go very far. You should feel a nice, gentle stretch. Might also be feeling a little bit along your psoas and such. If you like, you can even extend your right arm down. Make sure it doesn't go onto your knee. You can place it on top of your thigh. Extend it this way. Exhale all the way. Left hand goes right underneath your left shoulder. Send your right arm up. If you want this a little bit more strength, you can always lift your right leg up. Just options. You don't need to. You're getting stretches. But if you do want to, you can lift it up, the right leg up and down, up and down, up and down. Excellent. Let's walk your right hand. Let's walk it straight through. And we're going to do the same thing for the left. So your right knee comes back underneath. Good, nice and connected. Extend your left leg behind you. Bend that left knee. I'm going to go to the side so you can see me. Left knee comes up. We're going to do our little pulses. Ready? Up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down. We're going to bring your knee to the side. So we're in the fire hydrant, and then extend your left leg, and then come on up. So I'm going to rotate. Same thing. Rotate for our fire hydrant. So this is where you're really feeling your hip flexors and such. Send it down. So as we come back up, check your alignment. You guys are looking beautiful. Extend your arms all the way up. Using your left thumb and index finger, pull your right wrist upward and exhale it slightly over. Good. Feel a nice little stretch. And you may notice how some things, like even along your hip flexor, for me, I'm feeling along my left inner groin. You might feel some differences there. And then if you want, you can release your hand. Left hand comes down. You can go alongside. Just be very mindful. You know, placing on top of knee joints. You don't want to put any pressure on those knee joints. Bring it over. And when you're ready, you can exhale your right hand right below your right shoulder. Extend the left arm up. Again, couple options. Your left foot, the entire foot could be grounded onto the ground. You feel some stretching there. Or if you want, make this a little bit more strengthening, extend the left leg up, almost like a modified half moon. And then you can always bring it up and down. So you're working some of the muscles along the glutes, and also I'm feeling it actually in my abductors. Up and down, up and down, up and down. Great. Excellent. Come all the way forward and then go into a child's pose. So as you bring your hips down toward your heels, you can choose to have your hands down by your ankles, or if you want, you can just have your forearms touching the ground. Feel the expansion of your back ribs. You can always choose to put a block or something underneath your forehead so that the forehead makes contact to either the ground or raised ground. Beautiful. Let's come back up. And then if you have your prop, make sure you grab it with you. So I'm going to give you a couple of different options. So as we're sitting here, so you could be either seated, but sometimes for people like sitting here, especially if you're a little bit tight in the hamstring or sitting on the ground, it makes it uncomfortable. You can always be in a chair. So a chair is going to do the same thing, gives you a little bit more accessibility to bend forward and such. Okay, so having a strap, a belt, you know, a tie or anything, place place it around your right foot, right? So what we're gonna have you, oh, I shouldn't have been wearing on black and black. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna extend your right leg, and you lift it up. So right now you're using your strap for it. Now, even if you're using a strap for it, that means you're using probably your bicep, which is really, think that we don't really need this muscle. Now, I'd like for you, as you extend that right leg up, feel what happens when you start decreasing the amount of strength on the strap, but keeping your leg up. So you can feel the muscles starting to tighten up along your quads, especially around your knees, okay? So you can put a little bit of strength on your strap, but if you're starting to decrease the strength in the strap, that means you're really using your quads. All right, but keep breathing. Yoga is all about the breath. And when you're ready, just can drop it down, okay? Especially when you're starting to feel it work as well. Okay, now we're going to do the same thing to the left side. So flexing that left foot, you might want to just lift it up. So if you want to try lifting it up without the strap, see how high you can lift it up. It feels kind of actually easier on one side. See if you can try to keep the body straight. I just saw myself leaning back. And feel that. And then drop down. All right, we're going to keep working this left side. So we work this left side a little bit, fatigue it. You'll lift it up and down. So you don't really need to use a strap, but if you can, if you want. So that's the beauty of it. You can use the strap. Up and down, up and down. I don't know about you, but my muscles starting to really feel it. Okay, do that 3 times. Switch over to the right side. So when we do dynamic strengthening, you can feel how the muscles has to both engage and then also relax. So it's teaching it to do both. So a lot of times what happens is, don't we sometimes grip onto things? So you can lift it up and down, keep working it. And then you can decide how high you want to lift it up. Because the higher you lift it, of course, not only do you have to have that range of motion, but it's also the different muscles trying to lift it even higher. So again, you can continue to do this on your own. All right, are you ready to do both legs at the same time? So I don't know about you, but right now both my quads feel really tight. Like later on, we're going to work a little bit of massaging. So this is going to be harder. So if you're pulling, I'm going to actually use my arm strength and strap. Lift it up. Maybe not. I can't lift it up. Up. So we're almost doing more of a boat pose, which is good because we're getting to use our abs, our core. Remember, it's all about breathing. Okay. Release. Let's release the strap. Baddha Konasana, where the collar's posed, so the soles of your feet together. Oh, feel that. Once you release that, can you feel the stretch? Interestingly, I feel a stretch immediately along the quads. Now, you choose the level of how close you want your heels to your pelvic floor, but allow the stretch to gradually take place instead of going extreme. All right. But can you still try to have a nice elongated spine. And then what we had learned beforehand, you can place your hands behind you, lift your hips up, and then slowly bring yourself closer toward your heels. But again, the goal isn't necessarily to get straight into your pelvic floor area. So again, just as you breathe, be more aware of what your body is trying to communicate, any type of discomfort and such. As we face different sorrows and grief, a lot of times we cry out, but do we really go and rest into God's arms? Beautiful. All right, let's cross your ankles. We're going to get back onto our hands and knees. We're going to tuck our toes. We're going to come into our first downward facing dog. So check your hand position, shoulder width apart, a little bit in front of where your shoulders were, and then lift your knees up and slowly start straightening your knees, hips comes up. Maybe your first downward facing dog, so you may want to walk your dog by bending one knee, stretching your right heel, the opposite heel toward the floor, and then alternating. So then bending the opposite knee and stretching just to get a little bit of stretch. Inhale here. And as you exhale, we're going to go into our plank. Top of a push-up, you can always drop to your knees. Completely fine to drop your knees. You're still working those core. Kind of press yourself forward slightly. I want you to feel yourself like as if you're hugging your elbows in towards your body, and then start bending at your elbows. So as you hug it in, starting to lower yourself down. Inhale to baby cobra, so the top of your feet touch the floor. Continue to press your hands in, kind of like you're twisting open the top of a jar outwardly. Bring your gaze slightly upward. Shoulder blades come down behind you. Exhale, bring your body down. Tuck your toes. Press yourself back up into a downward facing dog. Slightly walk your left foot toward the center, toward your right foot. Extend your right leg up. Three-legged dog. Bend your right knee. Stack your right hips over the left hip. And then we're going to bring your right hip to be in line with the left. And then bring your right knee in toward your elbow, and then bring your right foot forward. So bring the right foot forward. We're coming into our low lunge. So you can use a block if you like. Again, your left foot's behind you. You can extend that back, press your left heel behind you, bend your right knee slightly more. Maybe you can feel a little bit of your hip flexor opening, and then shift forward so that your right knee's over the right ankle. Feel how that feels. You have the option to drop your left knee into the ground. So your choice is for strengthening or stretching. It's so great when you listen to what your body's asking you to do. Have your left hand onto the floor. Continue the left hand on your floor. Extend your right arm all the way up toward heaven. Check to make sure your right knee doesn't fall outward. Exhale your right hand back down. Take a step up with your left foot, your forward fold. Maybe you might want to straighten your knee slightly, but you keep your knee slightly bent.
pressing your feet into the floor as if you're kind of pushing the mat outward. Slowly come up, slowly rounding up. Hands all the way up toward heaven. Palms together as you exhale, comes all the way down to center line, down toward your heart. Keep bending forward, hands still together. Forward fold. Inhale your hands to your shin. Nice flat back. Exhale your hands all the way back down. Take a step back with your right foot. All right, going into low lunge in the other direction. So right heel goes a little bit further back behind you. You may be able now allow your left hip to bend a little bit further down, and then check to see your left knee. Now bend it, and then you can reposition it so your left knee is over that left ankle. Looking good. Place your right hand onto the floor. Inhale your left arm up toward heaven. Keep your left knee still over there. Feel a nice expansion. Exhale your left hand back down. Take a step back with your left foot. So we're getting into a plank pose. Plank, you can always drop your knee. Reposition your hands if your hand's not positioned properly. Should be right directly underneath your shoulders. Okay, so if you're in that position, you can always drop your knees. Again, same thing. Pretend you're trying to, your hands are nice, strong foundation. Pretend you bring everything toward your center line. As you slowly bend your elbows inward, lowering yourself down. Elbows come in toward you. And then inhale, upward facing dog or baby cobra. Exhale, come back down. Tuck your toes, press yourself up into a downward facing dog. Doing good. Looking beautiful. Walk your right foot slightly toward the left foot. Lift your left leg up behind you, three-legged dog. Nice position. Bend your left knee, stacking that left hip over that right hip. If you want, you can rotate your ankle. And this time we're going to bring that left knee, stack it back so your right hip and left hip together. Bring your left knee up toward your left wrist. We're going to drop it down to a pigeon. All right, so pigeon pose. So your left foot's on the ground, your left knee's on the ground. And then as you lift your right knee up off the ground, now slightly walk it back. Option, if this is not accessible to you, because sometimes pigeon isn't for people, you can go onto your back, do the supine one, so you do the figure four, you're still working the same areas, all right? So that's the beauty of yoga. You can always find a position that works best for your own body. We're so uniquely created. There's no reason for us to try to get our body into a pose. We allow the pose to go into our body. So if you find yourself up really high, you can always put some props there. Now, as you're in whatever position you're at, can you feel perhaps, like sometimes people work this a little bit more strengthening, but let's just say because your left knee is bent, how does your right gluteus maximus feel? Is it tight or can you try to relax it? For those that want this to be more strengthening, you can always bend the right knee behind you so the right foot comes up. And then for some people, they may opt to go reach back and grab onto their right foot. I don't think I'm going to do that. Let me see if I can even do that. So some people like to grab it from the opposite and then even pull themselves as they kick their right foot into your hand and lift their arms up. But you know what? I'm going to do face splats. So I'm not going to even bother. But if you do that, not only is it strengthened, but you can also probably feel a stretch along that quad. So we did do some quad work earlier, so that may feel good for you. And then you can always opt to go into sleeping swan from a yin standpoint. So you can always lower yourself further down. Now, if you're in the typical pigeon pose, I like for you to get back up onto your hands and then roll down alongside to your left hips. If you're in your supine, then get back to seated, and then you bring your right foot, your extended right leg that was behind you, bring all the way over, crossing it so that you're in the your left leg's down below and your right foot's over. So I'm in this position. I'm going to shift over so you can see me. So in this case, you're going to have both sits bone make contact to the floor. If this does not feel good to you, what you could do is you can also extend your bottom leg, your left leg straight. So you can do this as an option. That's another option. So we could do our cow face pose. So if you're in this position, slowly start walking your right foot. I have to sit there and say like, okay, this is my right foot, even though it's on my left side, right foot, so that your knees are almost stacked on top of each other. So you feel a little bit more stretch in your quads. Again, the option is you can always have that bottom leg, your left leg straight. If you have your strap, you may choose to have the strap nearby you. You can grab one hand with it. So what you're going to do is you're going to lift your left arm up, bend your left elbow, and then reach back with your right hand from below and hold on to it. So this is where the strap may come in handy. So what's beautiful about using a strap or a towel or some type of prop is you're not really sacrificing your spine, your neck for trying to reach it. So you can actually really feel your spine elongate, make sure your neck's not being scrunched or anything like that. Allow the prop, let your strap or your belt give you a little bit of leeway. And then reconnect to your breath. At the very beginning, it seemed really easy for us to do our inhalation and exhalation. Now that we're in slightly an odd position, and isn't that true? Sometimes in life, sometimes in a strange pandemic year, we may find ourselves in a really awkward position that may cause us to not be able to have the full breath that we normally have. So in a situation like this, can we really remind ourselves to be present to our Holy Spirit, full breath. And be strong and take heart. All you who have hope in the Lord. Let's release your left hand. Feel a little bit tingle from numbness. Excellent. Bring your hands right behind you. As you lean back, you can maybe gently bring your legs up, switch it out, both feet onto the floor in front, knees bent, and just windshield wiper so you can feel a little bit of motion. All right, let's get back into our tabletop because we have to do pigeon on the other side. We do not want to be lopsided, okay? So back into your tabletop and get into your downward facing dog. This time, if you like, you can either, some people like to get into their pigeon by extending their right leg all the way up into a three-legged dog and then bring the right knee in. Or if you want, you can just bring your right knee straight toward your right wrist. And then again, with your left leg knee up off the ground. You slightly start walking it. You can drop your left knee down there, walk your left foot slightly back, and then allow yourself to be a little bit more supple getting down into your pigeon. So again, you have the option. One side may be very different than the other side. That is very common for asymmetric. Be very kind to yourself. You can choose, again, if you want, you can always bend that left knee, extend that left foot up. Feel how that might be different. You can always choose to reach back toward that left foot. Feel a little bit more of a quad stretch there. You can try to kick your left top of the foot into your hand. Lift your arms up. And then props are a beautiful thing, so you can always use props. And really take this time to really be present with noticing the different areas of your body, what feels tight. And sometimes it might be in the area that you least expected. So perhaps you're tight in your jaw, that may be the jaw, neck, shoulder area. Or maybe you feel a little bit of cramping in your foot. So if you are in your supine position, a couple things you might want to do, you have some options there. Again, your right ankle might be up against your left knee, but you could use your right hand, your right forearm, your elbow, slightly gently press that right knee slightly away from you. See how that feels. Might be a little different sensation. This is where it's so fun to kind of experiment and take notice what happens when you flex your left foot or you flex your right foot and how that slightly changes the other areas of your body. You can always choose to go down to sleeping swan by getting down to your forearm. And then slowly we're gonna have our hands underneath our shoulders, press yourselves back up, roll down over toward your right hip. Gently bringing your left leg all the way in front. So you're gonna bring your left foot over on the outside of your right thigh. So I'm gonna switch over to this direction now. So as we get into our cow face pose, what you may want to slightly do, make sure both hips or sit bones make contact, and then you can slowly bring that left knee over that right knee. And again, it doesn't really actually have to do that. You're trying to stack them up. You can always extend that bottom leg, which is the right leg. Right leg, and extend it straight. So as you stack there, feel like you're in a twister game here. If you have that strap, we're going to do the same thing with your arms. So same thing. This time, right arm upward, bend that right elbow. You can slightly use your left hand, kind of press it back, and then it may be a little more supple to you. You can always use the strap. So be kind. So having that spine nice and straight, having your head nice and straight, crown of your head upward.
And same thing, can you feel yourself connect? Interesting that this is called cow face pose. I have a hard time visualizing it looking like a cow, but that's besides the point. And we're going to slowly release your strap. Oh, stretch your upper arms up. Oh, wow. And then bring it right behind you, both hands behind you, lean back. And that way you can allow your legs to unwrap. Again, same thing, going into our nice little windshield wiper. Kind of feeling it along your hips. All right. So if you had the strap and such, a couple of things you might want to do. So with this, again, it's not really necessary to use the strap, but I think it makes it a little bit more apparent. So if you have it around so that you can put the strap right on your lower thighs. Okay, so we're going to have it so that it's almost at hip width apart. So if you happen, if you had a block, if you were to put a block between your thighs, now you have your strap. Okay, so you just want to make sure whatever, if you have a buckle or anything like that, you don't want it up against your legs, so you don't want it to hurt. So move to the side. So we're going to be almost in our boat pose. You can place your hands behind your shoulders. Your feet are on the ground, except for it's really your heels. And I'd like for you to just slightly pull against your strap. So pull against it. And when you pull it against it, I want you to be aware of what is tightening up. Okay. I'm going to give you time. I know everyone's strap's a little different. So again, if you don't actually have to use the strap buckle if you want, you just kind of like do a couple wraps around your legs. But it's at the hip width apart. And so that you're going to keep that 90-degree angle, 90-degree angle. Normally when we do this kind of boat pose, I have us grounding our heels into the mat, trying to pull the mat toward us, and you can feel the engagement in your core, and that's still great. But in this case, I want you to sense something else. As you're pressing away, I'm going to face you this way then. Oh, I'm wearing black, you guys. All right. So as you're pressing your legs away from you, so the strap is not on your knee joint. You definitely don't want it on your knee joint. You have it above it on the sides. You're pulling it away from you. You can feel the muscle right along the side of your legs. So we're working that area. So abductors pulling out. But the cool thing is you can also be working part of that core. So pull that way. If you want more, so options, you want more like this is a boat pose, lift your leg up and still keep pulling outward. So when you're doing that, you'll probably feel a little bit more shaking going on. So instead of making sure you're using your legs, not your feet. So a lot of times people want to flare out their foot, but you're really still working that entire side. When you're ready, bring it down. Give yourself a little hug, kind of like a child's pose hug. And then come back up. And if you like, you can lower it down to above your ankle. So it's like on your shin area. So same thing now. We're going to do the same thing. Again, this is going to be very careful. You're not going to try to be pulling it at your knee joints,
but using that muscle, just have them pull against it. So it's isometric, but resist against themselves. Just slightly pull against that area down the body. And just for laughs if you want. If you can still make this as a boat pose if you want. If you want this a little bit more engaging and more strengthening, you can always lift your leg up, still doing the same thing, pulling away from each other. So your choice, you don't have to do this. But most important is maintaining your breath. And then calming back down. All right, let's remove all that nice fun. And lastly, if you want to get into your final boat pose, you can. If you want to use a full strap, this could be your anchor. Remember Bible verse. So you can just do a strap, you can pull onto it, make this a little bit more restorative. You can opt to do that. Talk about that hope of having that anchor. You know exactly where you're going to go. Who we can count on for that hope, for that security, that stability. And then when you're ready, you can slowly lower down to your back. So if you want, you can allow your legs to go straight up. Fun. And as your feet, or your soles, your feet up toward heaven. So talk about keeping your soles toward heaven. What you may want to do is allow your left foot to come out of the strap, lower it down to the ground. You can either have it left foot bent, knee bent, if that's not accessible to you yet. And then holding on to the strap or your rope, you can just slightly tug back and forth on the strap. So you're getting a little bit of massage at the bottom of the sole of your foot. Should go pretty good, actually. Now, if you have really dry skin, you don't want your foot right above your head because then you're going to have snow coming on you. So you might have it, just keep it along over the right hip. So you can allow it to like nice little massage there. Bend that right knee in towards you. Now you can drop your strap, just interlace your fingers over that right knee. Hug your right knee toward your chest, maybe a little bit on the outside of it. Work those ascending colon, especially from all the Christmas feast. And then keeping your left hand on that leg, extend your right arm out, the T. And if you like, you can always rotate your right hip over to get a nice little spinal twist. If you want a cervical twist, you can always bring your gaze over toward your right fingertips. Continue feeling your breath here. It should feel wonderful. Bring your gaze back to center. Slowly de-rotate back as your right hips make contact. Bend your left knee. You can now bring both hands over toward your left leg. I'm trying to get this strap off me. So both hands over left leg. You extend the right leg straight. Inhale here, and as you exhale, bring that left knee even closer, a little bit on the outside of the left ribs. There's pulling it in. And again, you can always use the strap to help extend the arm some. As you're breathing here, you can maybe feel the descending colon getting a little bit of massage here. Allow it to breathe here. Then keep your right hand over that left leg. Extend your left arm outside. And then slowly invite that left leg over. Extend the right leg. So we're getting the spinal twist in the opposite direction. Now, when you bring it over, of course, there's no reason for the left knee to make contact with the floor. It can sit there and just hover. It's completely fine. You can always have a circle twist by bringing your gaze over to your left fingers. You don't need to, just if you prefer. Then bring your gaze back to center. Slowly derotate. Bend your right knee, both knees to your chest. Rock a little bit side to side. If you like, you can do a happy baby by having your hold your feet up toward heaven, grabbing the outside. Talk about being a happy child of God. So you can rock a little bit side to side. And if there's anything that your body's asking you to do, maybe quick legs up the wall or anything like that, feel free to do that. And if not, let's get into our final resting pose, Shavasana. So you extend your right heel to the right corner of your mat, left heel to the left corner of the mat. You can always choose to add some props if you like. You can always place a bolster or something underneath your knees. You can always place a blanket over your head. Or not your head, over your body. You can put an eye pillow over your eyes. I guess you really want to put a blanket over your head, you are more than welcome to. And tuck your shoulder blades underneath. So tuck those angel wings underneath. A lot of rejoicing this season. Rejoicing in the arrival of our Christ. And if you like, you can close your eyes, knowing that you are in the safety of the everlasting arms. Feel yourself just slowly relaxing, knowing how safe and secure you are, being lulled with your breath as you inhale and exhale here. Like one of those ocean, the tide just waves, just gently rocking you to sleep, knowing that you have the safety of the anchor of Christ. And you continue to allow yourself to relax each breath. You feel your right foot, right leg, left foot, left leg, the hips, the arms, the hands. The jaw. Allow even the brow, your head, your forehead, just to relax. Continue your nice gentle breath. And noticing your breath as it starts to fill up just a little bit more fullness with your breath, your inhalation. And your exhalation. Coming back perhaps to the dock. Bring some awareness to your body. Wiggling your fingers and your toes. Rotating your ankles, your wrists. Perhaps stretching them out, your toes and your fingers, stretching out wide. And then closing it close. So make small little tight fists, toe fists and your finger fist. And then inhale, stretch it out wide. And then make little fist again. One last time, open it nice and relax it wide. And then just allow it to relax. Inhale your arms over your head. Pointing your toes away from you. And then as you exhale, bring your knees up and roll over to your right side of your body, keeping your lower arms underneath your head to keep your cervical spine in alignment. Keeping your eyes closed. Stay here for at least one full breath cycle. And then when you're ready, using your upper arms to press yourself up gently into a nice comfortable seated position. Feeling your sits bone make contact to the earth. Your hands just resting gently on top. Your thighs, palms facing upward to receive from God, from heaven. Eyes so closed. Trying to maintain that connection with the Holy Spirit. Trying to keep our other senses from being bombarded by any other distractions. As we continue breathing here, I invite you to listen carefully to what God may be telling or sharing with you about this 2020 year as we look forward to a new year, looking back to what was in the past. As they shared yesterday, everything from the Old Testament was telling us for something in the future. And in the New Testament, they're always telling us about when Jesus had arrived and then died for us. So we look in the past, but no matter what, both were looking toward Jesus. And so we can always bring ourselves to the presence of the Holy Spirit, who Jesus had sent to us when he went back up to heaven. We're going to do our full 3 breath cycles. Nice deep inhale here through your nose. Exhale, out breath. Another breath, inhale here. Exhale, out breath through your mouth. And one final last full deep inhale here. Nice, beautiful purification, cleansing breath. Floating our hands together, palm touching palm, thumb resting right above our heart. Tucking our chin down toward our heart. Dear Father God, I just ask you
Help us remind ourselves that our hope is in you, that you've given your promise that we can find our safety and our strength and refuge in you. And no matter what we face, that we are safe with you and our hope is placed in you. Thank you so much. In your son Jesus' name I pray. Amen. Namaste.